Thank you for spending a few minutes with us today. The great, the wonderful Lzzy Hale of the Backstage Pass page presented by Area 51 Tobacco Novelties. You are getting ready. Is the tour happening now, or are we about to kick it off?
We're about to kick it off. We start. I think it's the 6th of July, and so we're so excited. It's like first big summer tour back. It's going to be fun. So
yes, and it closes here August 12th with Pretty Reckless, Lzzy, the warning at Atlantic Union Bank Pavilion in Portsmouth. I believe now you've officially hit for the cycle in Hampton Roads. You played all our major venues.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just keep knocking them off the list, man.
That is so cool.
We got to start playing the bowling alleys next. The bowling alleys.
No, that's hard times. You don't have to do that anymore. Now, obviously, because this is like a girl power kind of a show, we have to ask, and we'll be told you'll have to come and see. Any collaborations on stage that are being planned that we could maybe not talk about?
Of course. You know, it always tends to happen, and especially, I mean, we've been friends with the Pretty Reckless, you know, guys for forever. In fact, you know, Taylor was one of my happy hour Zoom buddies during lockdown. Awesome. So we have a lot of catching up to do. We've definitely been talking about we have to do something, but as is tradition, nobody can decide on anything until the last minute. So most likely there will be some surprises that even we don't know about yet. So
I'm going to call it a Joan Jett medley to close it out, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, let's just do it.
Awesome. So obviously, whenever Lzzy Hale does an interview, somebody grabs a headline out of it. What's the most ridiculous, out of context quote you've seen for clicks from your own mouth?
You know, it's funny how you know, I get all the Google alerts and stuff anytime anybody mentions my name, and usually it's something like they take something that I say like in the interview, but then they have that as the headline, and I forget what the last one that was out of context. I'm sure it was recently. I'm like, what? That's not the whole point of the thing. But man, I forget. There was something. Now this happened years ago, where I had said something about a kid or whatever. I think I was talking about. So the only people in the band that have kids is my bass player. He has 2 boys, and I was talking about them or something, and then everybody ended up thinking I was pregnant or I had a kid, and I'm like, no, this is not me. That's you would know. You know, so little things like that, and it's always funny when you know, people are picking up on certain things. I'm like, you didn't even read the article, you just grabbed something. It's crazy.
Yeah. So speaking of that, actually, that was honestly next on my sheet. I have 2 young girls, a 4-year-old and an 8-month-old, and to get the most out of them, I think, and my wife doesn't agree, I think we need to go super hardcore fundamentalist religious, so they have no fun as children. So we have 2 little mini James Hetfields in the house. I think that's a solid plan. What do you think? Parent of 9, Lzzy Hale?
Yeah, exactly. I agree. You know, so and just from my perspective too. So like, my parents went through a religious phase for a little while when we were kids. So like, we went to a private Christian school, all of that. And I'm telling you, just because, and the silver lining of all of that is, you know, and nobody understood my music. Nobody understood why I liked rock and roll. I would get literal interventions after class because I'd be talking about the band too much. I got sent to the principal's office because I was literally handing out our first cassette tapes, you know, in the hallway, you know, and it was because of those moments that I'm like, well, this is ridiculous. I'm going to do it anyway. So there was fuel for the fire. You know, sometimes you need a little bit of oppression.
All right. She's on board. Awesome. Can you might need a second to think about this. Can you give me an example of somebody big in music that you met who just blew you away, but then on the other side of the coin, somebody who embodied don't meet your heroes. And you do not have to say which is which. We'll just guess.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's not, I've never had like a really bad experience meeting any of my heroes. Sometimes it was a little surprising. So none of them were detrimental. One of them, I got to meet Tom Kiefer from Cinderella and do it, you know, and we've since then become friends. We've done a bunch of duets and everything, but he was the guy that like literally got me into guitar and singing the way I do. And when I was a kid, I was obsessed with, you know, the Night Songs album, and you know, that was like my boy band, even though I was in it was in
Of
the
course, of
90s.
course.
Nobody understood it, but it's like I'm like I love this band so much. And it, like, he blew me away personality wise. I mean, just made me feel like family from the get go. Same thing with Ronnie James Dio. Only got to
That's
meet
a good
him
one.
once, and he blew me away with just the way, just his demeanor, and then on the surprising end of it, and this is not a bad thing, but I just got to meet Ann Wilson for the first time a couple weeks ago,
Nice.
and it was such a beautiful moment. But she's so quiet. She's so like just calm and subdued, and just is just happy to be there. And I was picturing in my mind that because of her powerful voice and the way, I mean, I wouldn't be the singer I am today without her. I was expecting something a little bit more like energetic and lively, and she's just cool as a cucumber. So that was like just surprising. I'm like, you're so loud when you sing, but you're so quiet when you talk. So that was kind of cool. So surprising, but again, not like super detrimental. I always recommend meeting your heroes, because you get to almost see that reflection of yourself, and you get to really kind of just put the puzzle pieces together as to why you're the musician that you are today when you meet your heroes. So I never really shy away from that. One of the funniest ones was Joan Jett, because she was screwing with me. I had brought my bandmates had gotten me years ago one of her signature Melody Maker guitars, and so I brought it to this show that we were opening up for her. And I'm like, hey, I was all fangirly, and I'm like, hey, would you sign my guitar? And she looks at me and she looks at the guitar. She's like, oh, I don't sign guitars. And I'm like, immediately I'm like, oh, well, that's okay. You don't have to. And she's like, I'm screwing with you. Give me the guitar. It's fine. I'm like, okay, woo.
Do you have a favorite guitar to write music on?
Ooh, I mean, right now, and a lot of what ended up happening on this latest record, Back from the Dead, I've been using my new signature model, the Explorer Bird, and so it's Explorer body, but then Firebird headstock, and I ended up using it a lot on the record because there's something about the Firebird headstock that really just locks everything in tune. And so we're doing a lot of like drop C.
Nice.
On this album. So that one was a very fun one because it just kind of stayed there. It was rock solid. So that's my new favorite. My original favorite, my very first Les Paul custom that I ever got when I was a late teenager, is a Tobacco Burst Les Paul custom, 91, and that thing still feels like home. So when I'm just kind of like not really knowing where I'm going with the music, and just kind of put that one on, and it just kind of plays itself. So that's one of my favorites.
Great answer. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have you ever put like a song together and you thought, do we have to do lyrics? Like, this just rocks so hard, and I have to just force something onto it. Do you ever just want to do instrumentals?
Absolutely, all the time. It's a weird thing, and for some reason my guys in the band trust me with words, and I'm still not quite sure why. It's always like after the fact when we're finally like recording it, they're like, really? You're saying that? And it's like, yeah, if you want to help, you can. But no, it's interesting because sometimes, especially during lockdown, the guys and my guitar player Joe would send me all these like instrumental songs. One of them in particular is Bombshell off the new record, and I wrote like 3 different songs on top of that bed of music, and none of it was working. And I'm like, oh, can we just rock this out? It's fine. Right. And then 11th hour, at like 3 in the morning, I'm like, okay, this is where the puzzle pieces come together, and finally figured it out and took it. You got to take the bull by the horns sometimes. Just be like, just do it. You're a lead singer. But yeah, I mean, all the time. It's all work. It's all hard. It's hard to write a song. It's hard to record a song. It's hard to then perform a song and make sure it's right for radio and all of that. But that's the way it is. Nothing good ever comes easy, so you just got to do the work.
Very cool. When was the last time you changed your own strings?
Oh God, forever ago. It's honestly probably been years. And the funniest thing is that I was so lazy during lockdown because I'm just like, it sounds fine. I don't need to go and change it. Everything's all like, dead.
Out of tune immediately, except for that one.
And then we got into the studio and we had a luthier in there. I'm just like, can you just quick change the strings? I'm like, it's been so long, I'm gonna screw it up. Yeah, it's weird because I mean, we all in the beginning days of Halestorm and well throughout when we first got signed. We were all our own techs. We couldn't hire people. We didn't have, the means to do that. So I would do it like every 3 days. I just take them all out, and now it's like I look at it, I'm like, do I even remember how to do this? Because I have text for that now, but it's so weird.
Good. Gotta be honest. It's good to know. I'd like to introduce my. I'm on afternoons here at FM99. This is Michael. He's my traffic reporter. He's very recently taken over the gig. And to allow him to come sit in, his dog is named Lzzy.
Oh,
so he has
that's
to show
awesome.
a picture if you can hold it up to the
Oh,
camera for us,
absolutely.
everybody.
Oh, how cute.
It's a red husky, right?
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
Red husky,
very
that's
cool.
beautiful.
So-
Thank you so much. I just found out today that there's a bobcat named after me at some zoo. Like it just,
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, my manager texted me this morning. He's like, "What is it with people naming their pets after you?" I'm like, it's a great pet name.
Yes.
It just is.
It is unique. It's not a drink.
It's not it's not daiquiri or something.
No. So I introduced Michael because he and I, about 14-year age difference, and we were talking the other day about, and he mentioned just an album he had never heard. So I gave him homework over the weekend. He had to listen to Alice in Chains Dirt twice all the way through and report back on Monday. And that's what I told him. I told him, your favorite artists love this album. What could you tell Michael about the album?
Oh, I mean, it's pure innovation. I mean, they rewrote the book on how you straddle that line between hard rock and metal. And I've gotten to know Jerry Cantrell quite well over the years. I ended my favorite wah pedal is his signature wah pedal. So
Nice.
we have this small joke every single time that we see each other. He ends up laying down on the floor and wants me to step on him, because
As one does.
I had another thing that the press kind of took and ran with. I had said somewhere, I'm stepping on Jerry every single night because I use his wah pedal, and so he got tickled by that. And now every time I see him, the last time it happened, we were at the Gibson garage here in Nashville, and I forgot all about it because it had been years. And he just lays down on the floor. He's like, "Do it. Just step on me with your high heels. Do it." I'm like, "I think you got a thing, buddy."
We're discovering things about ourselves after the pandemic,
Yes.
obviously. So, in your world, if you had to tell me or anybody else who wasn't familiar with anything outside of the radio hits, what's the one Halestorm album to listen to front to back?
The one Halestorm I would listen to front and the back. You know what? I'm gonna say our third record, Into the Wildlife, because what we ended up doing on that album that you can't always hear with the radio songs, because you cut them up for radio, is that we did a lot of transitions on that album. So if you listen to it from front to back, it's one piece of music that kind of leads in and out, just in between the songs. So it doesn't just cut right after the song. So to get the full experience, you have to listen to that front to back.
Awesome. Excellent answer. Tickets are on sale now. August 12th. Halestorm, Pretty Reckless, Lzzy, don't worry. You heard it all here. It's the last night of the tour, so they're going to go hard for you.
There will most likely be some shenanigans. That usually happens last day of tour. Everybody celebrates. Most likely we'll have some collaborations going on. And if you guys have not seen these bands that are with us, you have to. I mean, The Warning is 3 sisters out of Mexico. They all shred. They're all under 21. It's amazing. Lzzy is an entity all to herself.
Yes.
It's just a very special show. And then, of course, the Pretty Reckless slay it every single time. So I'm looking forward to being inspired every single night, and can't wait to rock out with my friends.
That means the next album's going to be the best ever. Lzzy Hale, thank you so much.
Thank you
This
so
has been
much.
an absolute pleasure.